What if I told you that drawing is easier than you might think? I'm going to show you 3 easy steps on how to draw anything. And later on in this video, I'm going to give you the formula for drawing. That's right, there's a formula. So stick with me. Hey art fans, it's Jose. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, thank you, I appreciate you. Let's get down to it. If you want to learn how to draw, you're going to have to draw every day. Or at least every other day. At least until you get comfortable. And then it becomes second nature to you. It doesn't take up that much time. You just have to put in the effort. 5 to 10 minute sketches, that's all you really need. But you're going to have to put in the time and have fun doing it. Use a lot of paper and a lot of energy. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, move on to the next drawing. Move on to the next sketch. I remember one time when I was doing some hand lettering back in the day. I was there lettering a sign for a customer. And then sometimes I'll get the E wrong or I'll get the letter A wrong on my script. And I just move on. I'll say, oh, I'll get it on the next one. That's the mentality you're going to have. Draw a sketch and you say, okay, this doesn't look right. Just move on to the next one. Keep practicing over and over and over. But what do I draw, you ask? Draw anything and draw everything. Look around in your home. Surely there's some type of items that you can draw. They don't need to be anything in particular. Just pick an item, put it on the countertop, and start sketching. Go outside if you have to, and start drawing. It doesn't need to be a great subject. It's not going to be a masterpiece. We're just practicing, and we're just wasting a lot of energy and paper. If you stop drawing, let's say the 3rd grade, and you take up drawing again, chances are you're going to draw like you did in the 3rd grade. Just because you got older doesn't mean your drawing skills developed over the years. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all that terminology, which is the best tools, shading, perspective, all that mumbo jumbo. What I will do is try to teach you the easy way in how to draw, just by using these 3 simple steps. Now, just to be clear, I'm talking about traditional drawing. I'm not talking about line art, pen and ink, graphic design. I can cover all that in a later video. I'm just talking about your traditional standard drawings. So if you're still with me, let's do it. Let me start by saying anyone can draw. You're not born with the skill to draw. Sometimes when you have people come over and they see you drawing or painting and they say, oh, you were born with that gift. This is not the case. People aren't born with the skill to draw. I do believe people are born with the creative side. They are born with a creative mind and they can come up with all types of either designs or, art projects. They can create something. There's something in their head that's very creative. That I think you're born with. Drawing is a skill developed over time and with lessons and hard work. Artists are observers. This is a skill that we had developed over time. Unlike non-artists, we see things differently. We would make good witnesses. If there was a red car or truck parked on the side of the road and there was a tree that was next to it and it was casting a shadow, if you ask a non-artist, hey, what did you see over there? The non-artist would say, I saw a red car. And then if you ask the artist, what did you see out there? Well, I saw a red car, but it was more like a burgundy color. And then the tree that was next to it casted this nice shadow over the hood, which gave it that cast shadow, which gave it a deeper red. And then the shiny rims on the vehicle. And we can go on and describe in detail what we saw. That's why we're observers. You kind of get the picture here. When it comes to drawing, observation is the main key. Everyone can see, but can you see well? That's where the ability to draw what we see comes into play. If you want to draw what you see, you have to train yourself to be a good observer. Before you start drawing something, look at your subject. Stare at it well. Observe it. Study it. Make a mental note. Study everything about it. Its shape, its value, and its texture. From now on, start your drawing with these 3 easy steps. Draw its shape, fill in its values, and then add the texture or detail. And that's on every drawing. Repeat to yourself as you're drawing. I see shape. I see value. I see texture. Over and over again. I see shape. I see value. I see texture. That's it. Okay, we can all go home now. You see, drawing shapes is a lot easier than drawing details from the very get-go. People like to draw details in the very beginning and get all caught up on it. Too many times beginner artists will stare at their paper. They're looking down at their paper and then they're looking at their subject and then they spend their time and they keep drawing and erasing and then get all hung up on the drawing on the paper, and then they look up and it's not quite the same. Which brings me to my next point, the formula for drawing. And if you're still with me, here it is. 2 parts observation to 1 part drawing. What do I mean by that? Observe your subject twice and draw once. Observe twice, draw once. Look, hold, draw. Look, hold, draw. So basically you're looking at your subject way more than your paper. So you're staring, you're doing a quick look down at your paper, you look back up, you're drawing, almost like you're drawing and not seeing the paper, basically. It's all in your head as you're following the shapes. Okay, so if you're still with me, let's put this practice to work. Come on. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, I brought in this timer from the kitchen into my studio, and I'm just using number 2 HB and regular copy paper so that we're not worried about wasting paper, quality paper. And then we're just going to do a quick sketch. Like I said, energy, paper, and move on to the next sketch. So let's get started. So to get most of our material, I divided the paper into 4 squares. And I'm going to get started on this guy right here. And it's always a good idea to angle your substrate or your material with your subject. You know, if you lay it flat like this, then you're going to get distortion. Keep it at a slight angle, maybe 90 degrees to your eye. Well, at a slight angle. So let's get started. Like I was saying, shape, value, texture. So let's go in, and I'm keeping my eye on the subject, and I'm just drawing in lightly the shape of the subject. And most of the time I'm staring at my subject. 2 times observation, 1 time drawing. So I'm very close to having a shape right here. And like I said, if you goof, or even if I goof, you can move on. That's the best practice. So we have somewhat of a shape, and then what we want to do is fill in some values. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's just, and there's no special way of holding the pencil. Whatever makes you comfortable, hold the pencil however you wish. And I always like to add a little bit of especially if it's white, I like to add a value to the background. Then there's a cast shadow at this timer. It's actually a couple of shadows from the different lighting that I have in here, but we'll do our best. A little bit of shadow underneath the timer. You can turn your pencil however you like so that you're comfortable and you're getting the right angle. It's a little, for me, I'm trying to keep the shape in the frame so that you can see this. And then there's this. And like I said, you can always adjust your shape. It gives you the gist of the egg or the timer. Egg timer, I guess. Then we have something down the little handle. Like I said, you can draw anything around the house. Just draw. It could be a little bit a different value here and a little darker on the side of this little handle. And then once we have most of the values filled in, then you can start adding the texture. I mean, we're not going to add the numbers or whatnot, but you get the gist. And that would be like the texture part. Like I said, 5 to 10 minutes on a drawing. And then, if you want to add a little bit more value, fill that in. And then, like I said, you're adding a texture. You can use your finger to try to soften the surface of this timer. Just quick sketch. So for the next quick sketch, I brought in a coffee cup. And I'm just going to draw it in this little corner real quick. Like I said, we're just looking at the shape, the overall shape, the value, and then any texture or detail. Most of these sketches shouldn't take any more than 5 to 10 minutes. Just like I said, they don't have to be perfect, just so that you get out there and draw. That's the only way you're gonna learn. It's by drawing over and over and over again. Now I'm not gonna go over any kind of perspective and how to get perspective and how to measure things. I just want you to get the idea of the process of the drawing the shape, of an object by constantly observing it, and then the values, and then the texture. Oh, I forgot to set my timer. Let's go. Normally I want to take just maybe five minutes on these drawings. That's what the little timer took, was about 5 minutes. So there's my overall shape, and now you just fill in the value. Like I said, the background, I always have something in the back, just so that it pops. And there's the cast shadow, the mug, or the coffee cup. It's always good to have a shadow. By the way, I have what I have is, I'm resting this on some books back here. This little drawing clipboard. So bear with me. We're not creating masterpieces here. We're just trying to observe what we see. And of course, there's going to be a little bit of shading on this side because the light's coming from the left side. I'm a little off over here, but you can always, like I said, move on to the next one. A little shading in here. I'm sure you can see that. And you can get as dark as you want, but just keep working at it so that you get all the values and texture later in the drawing. And then you start adding, you know, the texture. I'm just gonna do something real quick. That's what I was talking about, the texture later, or the details later. Just have fun drawing things. And like I said, you can turn your paper around to get more values, get some darker shading. That's 4 minutes, but like I said, it's a quick sketch. Shape, value, texture. Real quick. That was 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. Okay, well you can keep adding detail, texture, and darken up the values to make sure you use, you know, the majority or most of the value scale. You know, the high keys, the low key, and the mid key in the value scale. How about we take this outside? I already did 2 quick drawings inside of household items. So let's go outside and see what we can draw. And I apologize for any of the, you know, it's getting windy outside, but I need to finish this video. And then I'm not sure if I mentioned, but like I'm only using number 2 pencil. I haven't even really erased, so, but this is the eraser that I use. So let's go outside and see what we can draw. Well, I apologize. Came back into the studio, I went outside, and I think there was a hurricane out there. So let's continue to draw indoors. And so I brought in a onion from the kitchen, and I'm going to draw that, a real quick sketch. Set my timer for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And let's see what we do. Like I said, shape, value, texture. So let's get started. Just using this corner right here. Again, 2 parts observation, 1 part drawing. I have my eye on the subject most of the time. And then I come and draw. Observation, drawing. Observation, hold, draw. Shape, value, texture. There's a little shadow over here. Like I said, this is just quick sketches to get used to drawing. Quick and easy, 3 steps. Now the number 2 pencil is, it's a little hard. You know, the graphite, the lead is a little hard now to get any real true dark values. but it's for practice purposes. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this with a light value. Hit the whole onion with a light value. And then add more. Hopefully I don't break the lead on this pencil. Or the point. Hopefully I don't break the point of this pencil. Let's see. By pressing too hard. There's something over here. Some type of shadow in here also. I'm trying to hold this clipboard so it doesn't move too much on me. All right, there's something over here. A little darker value. Try to be loose. You know, you have to try to use your whole arm and not just your wrist. Unless you have to, you know, when you get into some detail work, then you're definitely getting in there using your wrist more. But from the beginning, just try to be loose and not worry too much about details. I'm still working on the value, and when it's round like this, you want to make sure you're following the contour of the subject. I'm going to go ahead and start darkening this area over here, and then adding some texture. Texture would be, you know, the little, I guess, running layers of the onion. You don't have to draw everything. Like I said, we're just trying to have fun and learn the process. Value and texture. Shape, value, texture. Just repeat that to yourself over and over and over. Okay, I'm seeing shape, I'm seeing value, I'm seeing texture. And you can hear this pencil as I'm trying to get some darker tones, but it won't let me because it's a number 2. We're into my 5-minute mark, about 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Shape, value, texture. Okay, one last item from the kitchen. Little bag clip. Just gonna put it there. Like I said, draw anything, draw everything. And we're not trying to win an award or anything here. We're just trying to get into practice at sketching and whatnot. So let's get started with this one. Let me set my timer. Again, we're looking at the shape. Look at the overall shape, study it, and just follow the outside lines of the object you're drawing. We're not trying to get like super exact. We're just trying to see the shape of the subject, trying to fill in the shape. Just follow, use your eyes 90% of the time on the subject, 1 time drawing. 2 parts observation, 1 time drawing, 1 part drawing. There's kind of the shape right there of the clip. I apologize I couldn't go outside, but like I said, it was ridiculous when I went out there. It was so windy. Little opening here. So basically we have the shape, and then we're starting to add other elements of the subject. Like I said, these are just sketches. Nobody needs to get all crazy and detailed and whatnot. We're practicing. And we're wasting a lot of paper and material energy. I apologize if I hit the camera because it's right in front of me. Just keep looking at your subject and come back and draw 1 time. Look at your subject, come back. Cast shadow right here. Okay. Put a little bit of value over here. You can color the whole thing if you want, with the value, but I'm just going to put a little bit of value here. There's some shading in the back. A little bit of value on this side. There's my erase. Boop. Get rid of that little area. This is darker than the top here. Value, shape, value. Oh, again, I apologize. I hit my camera. It's right in front of me. Hope I'm still in frame. I'm past my 5-minute mark, but like I said, make these drawings 5 to 10 minutes. Value, now texture, just to get the gist of what we're seeing. This right here is shaded. Darken this line, like I said, texture. Again, you can't be afraid of making mistakes. Just draw whatever you can. It's an exercise. You're observing, and then you're sketching. That's 6 minutes, 7 minutes. But you get the idea. I hope this was of value to you. And if you like, please subscribe. Consider subscribing. And then we'll see you on the next one. Now let's paint.